Hey guys, this is just a quick video explaining how we're going to approach small groups for Croydon Hills for this year. And for these, we're going to base it off an understanding of faith development because we really want to partner with young people with where they're at, with where their questions are at about life, about faith, to be able to speak the gospel to the heart of that. And as they grow, to allow their faith to grow with them. Because what we recognize is that for a person at the age of 12, legitimate faith for them is going to look different to legitimate faith for a 17-year-old, to a 25-year-old, to a 40-year-old. So we want to be able to structure our small groups to be able to best help them explore what faith looks like, to ask the questions that would be relevant for them, for where their faith would be at that stage. And yeah, we just want to help equip you guys to be able to ask the right questions, to partner with these young people so that as they grow and mature, their faith is at a relevant level for them. So it's not too complicated at year 7 and not too simplified at year 12. The first thing to note is when we talk about faith development or how faith grows with young people, we're talking about more than salvation. Salvation is only a point on the spectrum of faith and growth. Firstly, this starts with people not knowing who God is, so they don't know God, and then they grow to consider faith, so they might come along to youth group, or they might join a small group, or they might have grown up in the church, but God's this foreign thing to them, so they start to consider faith. And then salvation comes where that becomes personal to them, where they really define themselves by their faith in Christ and becomes real for them. Then God will continue to transform your life, transform through what we call sanctification, but basically conforming you, transforming you to be more like Christ. And then at the end, in glorification, you become fully like Christ. So for understanding how faith grows, the simplest model is a 4-stage model, which is what we're going to talk about here. And basically with this, as a person progresses from like stage 1 to stage 2, they still need to keep interacting with stage 1. And likewise, when they're at stage 4, they still need to be doing stage 3, 2, and 1 to have a fully rounded faith. So firstly is experiencing faith, and this is characterized by witnessing faith for the first time. So this might be a young person who comes to youth group for the first time. They may have grown up in the church, but really faith was their parents' faith or the church's faith. But at this stage, they're starting to really interact with it, going, I wonder what this thing is, and start to look at, particularly with the young people we're looking at, what individual faith looks like, what it looks like for me to have faith, not just my parents to have faith. And really what characterizes this stage is to watch and observe, to partake, to test the waters, sort of thing. And for us, we're going to focus this towards the grade 6s and 7s. So when we look at our questions, it'll be, okay, so here's the concrete evidence sort of thing. Here's the concrete concept. Let's interact with that. Let's play with what does that look like for you guys. For God to be real. God is more than a concept. This is concrete stuff. And then as they grow, they'll move through experiencing faith. It's not just enough for them to experience faith. They want to affiliate or socialize into faith. And at this stage, this is where they start to adopt Christian faith into their identity. It becomes part of who they are. They may start to call themselves a Christians. They may start to ask to be baptized or partaking in different ministries around the church. And really, a lot of the church kind of sits at this stage where faith is just part of what they do. And that's a legitimate stage of faith. They begin to live out faith for themselves. And for us, we want to really start to encourage our year 8s and 9s and into our year 10s to be making this step, where it isn't just this thing they experience, but something that they partake in. They call themselves a Christian. They interact with this. But as they grow, again, that concept will become too small for them. And we want to really start for our year 10s and up, pushing them into this idea of searching faith. Now, searching faith happens when the questions asked by the society around us become too big for the answers that we're being given. In Sunday school, in church, all those answers. So what we want to do is partner with our young people to give them permission to ask questions of their faith. They're allowed to ask bigger questions. They're allowed to question, why is it like that? And this is just what we really want to start to narrow in and focus on from about year 10s, but definitely by year 12, to prepare them for when they go to uni, when they step out, when they can make decisions for themselves, that that they're allowed to ask questions. Traditionally, the church has called asking questions of faith backsliding. You need to just have faith, you need to believe. But it's been recognized this becomes a legitimate part of faith. They need to ask questions so they can own it for themselves. Sadly, for young people in this stage, there's three options. The first one is it's too scary for them. So it's like, these questions, it's confusing me. I don't know what to do. I'm just going to run back and just sit in my nice little Christian bubble on a pew and partake and do church. The second one is for them to go, your answers are too small for the questions I'm asking. I've done that Christian thing. I'm going to walk away. And that marks a lot of the under 30s, under 40 generation of the church, where a lot of them have tried this Christian thing and the answers that they're being given are being too small for the questions they're asking. They get a textbook answer and they're not allowed to ask more. Or we can journey with them through the questions, and they can reach a point where they begin to integrate faith for themselves. This is where faith, where the questions of faith don't shake who they are at their core. It doesn't. They're allowed to ask questions, but they're secure enough. They've got enough belief behind them that they go, I understand what I believe, and there's a whole bunch of stuff I don't know, and I'm okay with that. And they still ask questions. They still socialize. They still experience God. By this stage, faith is who you are. It's not what you do. So you don't do church. You don't do faith. You are a Christian. And most of the church, as we said, sadly never reach this point. They are very well intended. They serve with their hearts. They give a lot to the church, but church is still something they do. And we're wanting to call our young people to more than this. So we're going to focus on trying to journey with our young people from years 6s and 7s of experiencing what owning your faith can look like, what people on fire for God look like, through to them calling themselves Christians, socializing in, being part of it all, giving them permission to search and joining with them in that, so that hopefully by mid-20s, as we said, which is an ambitious goal, to have all our young people to work through faith and to integrate it as part of who they are. So that's basically how we're going to approach small groups, with that concept in mind. We're going to be working with the children's ministry and into adult ministry as well, with some extra stuff around this. But for us, we don't want to leave you guys to do this alone. What we want to do is journey with you. And as you journey with these kids, we want to journey with you through you asking them the questions. So you've got all the permission that we're asking you to give the kids. We're giving that to you to ask us. We're wanting to partner with you because our aim is that you guys can fully own your faith as well. You can not be afraid to ask the questions, recognize the stuff that none of us know. But together, we've got permission to ask. Together, we've got permission to journey. And together, we're going to be chasing down a God that is bigger than any of us can possibly imagine. So thank you for your commitment to help out this year. We're available to support you and to help build the studies. And the studies, as we said, will focus on these different areas, asking specific questions to help people consolidate their faith in that area and push them to the next stage of faith. So thank you again.